What's good, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back and it is time for a brand new video. Something I didn't think I'd be talking about before the season end, but here we are. We are here. And look, it's just the Leeds United thing, isn't it? I said in the last video, if you looked at the one I uploaded, I said I wouldn't want to talk about things at the moment because it would be a bit unfair on the current squad, the manager and everything else. Things can wait till the end of the season. But then a report comes out and we have to talk about it. And I did say I would come back if there's any legitimate links, news, or anything else, transfer or otherwise, I would come and speak about it. So we're here to speak about it. And according to reports, Daniel Farke could be replaced before we enter the Premier League again. And I want to get your thoughts on it. So people, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And of course, this is going to be very, very dangerous to say, but drop your thoughts and comments below. All right. So listen, but thank you to all the support and super thanks and members of the channel. Big up to everybody. The channel is doing well at the minute, so appreciate that, and hopefully it gets better as we get to the Premier League as well. Lee here saying I wouldn't think too much into it, especially with it being Daily Mail, just another London newspaper that hates Leeds. I mean, Lee, I don't know what the London thing's got anything to do with it, but I was going to say this anyway. The reason why I'm speaking about it is because I do think there's some validity to it, in that it's the Daily Mail who, for some reason, thinks that I don't know why, but the 49ers seem to give stuff to the Daily Mail. You know what I mean? I feel like they do leak things, and I do think that this is something that they want to test the waters with. The timing of it is a bit horrible, though. Listen to me, you know me, I'm not a sentimental man, not in the slightest, but I do think doing it two game days before the season's ending is a bit poor on the timing. But I'm thinking that maybe they've done it now just because the euphoria is high. I know the euphoria is high with me, which is why I put out the video previously, just talking about not wanting to speak about things that are irking me, or things that we need to improve on until the end of the season. But maybe this is why they're doing it now. They want to get a gauge on how people are feeling. I think they want to see, will the Leeds fans really care that much if Farke goes? And I think if the overwhelming majority say, no, give him a chance, maybe they don't take this any further. But I do think that they have leaked it out and seen what's going on. But I also think they've got their reasons for their concerns, and we'll speak about that in the video as well. But I also want to hear from people, because I know there's a lot of Danny Farke supporters out there. As long as you're not putting Danny Farke above the football club, I will hear you out. But it's always football club first for me, and you know that's how it is for me. Mike saying here, agree the timing of this is shocking. Yeah, that's the only thing I disagree with, Mike. The timing's poor, man. I mean, you could still get the gauge of the fans and get the emotion after the campaign's done. You can still get that after the season's finished, and maybe once we've lifted the championship trophy, you know, maybe that would even be a better time to gauge the support, because we've actually got a trophy in our hands, then not just promotion confirmed. But yeah, listen, man, it's one of these where we got to speak about it. We do have to speak about it. Don't joke about that one. I never want to see Javi Gracia again, man. Annabelle here saying bad timing, but like the sentiment, Farke is not good enough in my opinion. And that's it, Annabelle. Let me try and get through the article first. The thing is with the article, people, it is absolutely riddled with ads. So bear with me if I'm having to click around a little bit, because it is riddled. I mean, it's like a typical newspaper site. I mean, they want you to read the article, but they've got like 10,000 ads. And listen, I get it. I live via ads on YouTube. I understand it, but Lord have mercy, make it, you know, navigatable. You know what I mean? But Mike Keegan is the one that wrote this article. And again, he's a credible person and he gets quite a few things right. And that's why I do feel that there could be some validity to the report as well. Let me just see. I can hear things talk. Maybe you can't hear the music. I've just had to turn some music off the page. Let me go. Here we go. Let me try and get through the bulk of this anyway. Leeds United are considering making a stunning managerial change despite Danny Farke leading the club back to the Premier League. Mail Sport understands that the Ellen Road buses harbour reservations that the former Norwich City bus is the man to ensure what is viewed as vital top-flight survival. No final decision has been made, and there is awareness that such a controversial move could backfire, not least with the club supporters, but other candidates are being examined ahead of what is a pivotal moment for the football club. Yeah, points tallies. I'm going to get into those in just a moment anyway. His Premier League performance in East Anglia is known to have triggered some thought among the Yorkshire club's US-based owners, 49 Enterprises. In his first top-flight season with the Canaries, they finished bottom with 21 points, 14 from safety, and he was sacked in early of November of his second stint there with his side on 5 points after 11 matches. And let me see if there's any other thing here. Okay. Leeds are unlikely to pull the trigger unless they have a replacement lined up that they firmly believe will be a success, and that is far from a foregone conclusion. Should they head down that route, and a potential placement get off to a poor start, the atmosphere could quickly plummet. Yeah, about the money. Yep, find that levels. Blah 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 blah. Names such as Jose Mourinho have previously been linked with the job, although there is a keenness to find a lesser-known name. And should the bosses land on making a change following the success of Iriola at Bournemouth, indeed, ahead of point in Farke, Leeds were blocked by Rayo Vallecano after making approach for Iriola. So there it is, people. That is the article, and I'm going to click off it, man, because it is an absolute nightmare to navigate through. Now, I can understand where the 49ers have got concerned because I've got the very same ones. I've made no secret about it in terms of Daniel Farke. I do think he's an extremely limited manager, and I don't think he's got a tactical bone in his body. If it's not working, he will not change it until that 65 minutes, 70 mark comes. And if we're losing the game, and now we've seen that repeatedly over time. Now the positives are of the point totals, and let's get into that. And this is via UFC data. Is Daniel Farke's impressive numbers at Leeds United. He may have only managed us in the second tier to date, and I'm afraid that's where I see it too. It is only the championship, and it's even a worse championship than it's ever been before. But let me carry on. But Daniel Farke has the highest win percentage of any permanent Leeds manager or head coach in the club history with 57.8%. Only one of 8 league managers to have won promotion. And again, you see what I mean? These numbers, they're cute. They're nice and everything. But I would expect if we had Russell Martin to have the similar kind of numbers as well. Maybe not with the same defensive record, but with the squad that we have in the championship now, I expect the manager to have these kind of numbers. So it doesn't mean that much to me. It's good to have. It's great to have. But I would also argue that I feel we could have wrapped up promotion with the simple changes that Daniel Farke could have made earlier in the season, and he didn't do so until not even fan pressure, player pressure, and maybe even from the owner told him to make a change in goal. And it's something as simple as that. But because he's so stubborn at times, when he says something, he has to stick with it. Remember the whole Peru is not a 9 thing, and look what Peru's done this season. This is one of those things, though, for me, where people will say it's harsh. But I always put this argument back to people. If it's harsh on the manager who's done this, then isn't it just as harsh on the playing staff that are out there on the pitch to replace any of those? Doesn't it work for both? Because those players have been out there and have grinded for what it will be 46 games. Is it harsh on them to say, okay, thanks for getting us up, but you're not good enough for the Prem, so see you later? I don't know why it's different for a manager, and that has been my thinking. I do think if you can do it to players, then surely if you don't feel like the manager can do it for you, and there's been evidence previously of him not doing it, then I don't think it's that harsh. I don't. Annabelle saying here, we could have smashed the championship points record. We should have, Annabelle. This isn't like previous years as well, where it's been decent championship like sides, like some mid-table sides in the championship will have an £8 million striker, have a midfielder that you think, how is this player here? Like Elise, Eze at QPR. It's not like that anymore. There's barely any players that can take the next step. This is a completely different league. There's players in this division that genuinely should be playing League One football, genuinely should be playing there. But because finances are so tight and restricted, there's teams in here that have got players that should be nowhere near this level of football. And in comparison to what we have, then there's no competition. We should have blown the competition out of the water with the squad that we have. And listen, we've done it now, so it doesn't matter in hindsight, but these are probably things that they would have looked at in making this kind of decision if they do come to it. They would have looked at, we've seen Parag's face, and I'm not even just talking about the Swansea game. We've seen Parag's face when we've dropped points, and it's almost like a, how have we dropped points to this team here? You know what I mean? How have we not won this game? Look at what we're up against here. And you just think that maybe these kind of things have come into the thinking if they are to replace him. Rysel here saying here, cheers, Daniel. Thanks for doing the job. Now on to the big dogs. Yeah. And it's also could be something not as simple, because this is quite complicated, because Bournemouth did it. Bournemouth with Gary O'Neill survived, but they did lose the last 4 games of the season, which everyone conveniently forgets. They were nowhere near it, for the last 4 games of the season. But what Bill Foley did, the owner of Bournemouth and also Vegas Golden Knights in the NHL, who are also very ruthless themselves, by the way, they got in a coach in Iraola who can play the football that they want to play, but also attract players. And that's something else that you've got to look at as well. The Premier League, Leeds United is a big carrot within itself. We're going to attract players regardless. But if you've got that coach that players can gravitate towards, then even better. And I've said it before with Daniel Farke. I drive him to the airport myself. What I've said with Daniel Farke is he's even struggled to get in former players to this football club in the Championship. And even though it is the Championship, and I get it, you want to play top level football, completely understand it. But we saw Reggie Lebris bringing Enzo Lefebvre to Sunderland. Okay. That was a massive, massive signing. Enzo Lefebvre is a top level player. And because his ex-Lorient coach was here, he came down to Sunderland. So it is possible. Daniel Farke tried with many names in the Championship, people couldn't get it done, whether it be Max Aarons, whether it be Christoph Kramer. Who's the other ones? There's been others. I know there's been others. There was others as well that said, oh, I'd love to play for you again, Daniel, but it has to be the Premier League. We got that once last year with the Wolf. Thank you for someone in the chat as well that did remind me it was the Wolf who was that right back. But he would only come if Leeds United got promoted. And we also had it as well with the player we were recently linked with. He might want to go to Leeds United, but it has to be Premier League level. They're probably looking at so many different things when it comes to Danny Farke. Listen, we don't know. Buendia. Yeah, Buendia was another one. Absolutely. Yeah, Buendia. And Pat is here. Pat in the chat. Let me get this up. I do think, has this got anything to do with it too? Pat here saying his fate was sealed when he refused to drop Meslier after the whole game. And you just wonder, because I like I said to you, he admitted it in the press conference, so no issues with him. He didn't try and lie about it. I know the players talked to him about the Meslier thing. I know it. But what I don't know is if Parag did. And we saw Parag's face after that Swansea game. Man, he looked like he could have made a real rash decision on that day. But you have to think that Parag had spoken to him too, because we've heard it from Danny Farke's own mouth again and again. Mistake after mistake after mistake with Meslier. You don't change your number one when you're top of the league. You don't change your number one. We'd be crazy to do it. We'd be the first team to do it. I trust my goalkeeper. He's the best goalkeeper. He did not come to that decision by himself with Cardalo coming. He didn't. And even somebody, and I give the person credit, and I think it was a slip of the tongue, but he did say when he first decided that Meslier was coming out and Darlow was coming in, we have made the decision, and then he changed it to I. He quickly corrected himself. Now, that could have been a slip of the tongue. I know I slipped my tongue a lot on here, I'll pause. But I do think there is validity to him saying we first of all, and then changing it to I. I do definitely. FB White here saying, you said it before, KG, who would take Farke at the top of the table? Football. Bobby, I pause. I understand it. That was mad. That's on me. This is again FEY, and this is another point I've made numerous times on this channel. Since he's been here, he's broken all kinds of records. First to 50 wins in 80 something games, all that kind of good stuff. But he's never once, not once, been linked with a post above. Not one time. Even Europe, Premier League, he has been linked once. And this is Leeds United. You do well at Leeds United, you're noticed. But he hasn't been linked once. I've even seen reports today that Scott Parker is wanted by Tottenham. Now, listen, Tottenham are not in the greatest space, but why would they just? I know Scott Parker's got history with Spurs, and maybe that plays into it. But why wouldn't they look at Danny Farke, who's broken record after record, and think, wow, his approach could actually do us better than this Big Ange approach that is just absolutely atrocious. Bielsa light in many ways. Why not look at Daniel Farke in that way? West Ham, previous with Michael Carrick, I get it. But they were looking at Michael Carrick before they went for Graham Potter. There's just so many instances of this manager just being overlooked for a lot of posts where you would expect him, with the numbers that he's achieved at Leeds United, to have at least be linked with, be rumored with at least, and he doesn't get it. Now, the one thing that could probably go in his favor is if he is, to some harshly sacked, then there'll be a host of clubs queuing up for him. Just based on his previous stint, he'll be a free agent. He won't have to pay Leeds United any compensation. I'm sure there'll be some clubs that will think, man, he can get us promoted. Let's get Daniel Farke. Or maybe someone around Europe is looking at him and thinking, maybe we could take a chance on Daniel. What I also want to say as well is, don't mourn for Daniel Farke if he's sacked, because he won't be mourning very long. Like I've just said, I think there'll be some clubs that will want him. He will move on. He's not going to be sitting down drinking and, doing, lines of anything to get him through the night. He'll get a nice payoff. He'll get a nice bonus and everything else like that, and he'll move on to his next job. The most important thing I'm thinking of is, what are Leeds United doing? And if the 49ers are going to replace him, the one thing I've said, and if this was even during the season with Daniel Farke where I wasn't sure of him, don't just replace him with anyone. Make the appointment the right one. But who is that? Who is that? Hyru is saying he can go back to Norwich, he'll be fine. Yeah, this is what I just wanted to show as well. Again, what 49ers are probably considering. That looks a little small on the screen. Let me make that bigger. This is probably what they're considering. Look, championship with Norwich, 94 points. This is the point total here. Premier League, he stays for the full 38. They win 5 games, 21 points. They come up they get relegated, 46 games, 97 points. Premier League, he sacked within that season, 11 games, 1 win. And I think they actually sacked him after they got the first win. So it was like the first win in 11 games. And at that time, he had a total of 5 points. Now, again, people keep talking about Norwich. They weren't backed. He wasn't backed, this and that. I completely get it, guys. But I was watching the games, and he was asking Ben Godfrey to play a high line. So if you know you haven't got the players to operate at how you want to do it, then you adjust accordingly. And he didn't adjust, which is why they got slapped so many times. That's why they held a record of most losses in a row. I think maybe until recently, I think maybe Leicester have broken it. I'm not sure on that, but he has a record in the Premier League for losing the most games in a row. And that's because he didn't adjust his tactics. Now, you can say he should have been backed. That argument was the same for Bielsa too. And look what Bielsa did. He didn't adjust either. He said, it doesn't matter who we're playing. It's plan A. It's man versus man. But Liam Cooper, you're going to mark this player. No matter where he goes, you're going to follow him around the pitch, leaving a massive gap. And so be it. The result is what it is. You just can't operate like that in the Premier League. You've got to be more adaptable. And there's so many as well, people. Listen, I see this a lot, David, and you're not the first to mention Jurgen Klopp. I think Jurgen Klopp has actually stated, and I'm going to leave it here, I think he stated he won't manage another Premier League team or another team in England after Liverpool. So I don't think it's even a consideration. If, of course, as we all know, money talks, but I don't even think Jurgen Klopp is managing after Liverpool. So I'm not even going to comment any further on that, because I actually heard him say that out of his mouth. So unless he's an actual liar, then I will take him for his word. In terms of maybe Red Bull sending us Klopp, I don't think so. There's other ones though. There's other Red Bull managers out there, of the former Red Bull ilk that you could possibly look at. I've lost my train of thought. The Jurgen Klopp thing has moved me. Yeah, I mean, profile. I mean, I don't know if you think you're winning any Pulitzer prizes here, but we know the team isn't good enough. That's nothing, but this is what the next step is. This is probably why the club are looking at something else. They want to look at what the team's going to look like, who they can bring in. By the way, that's what I wanted to get to before I forget. It's about, I've mentioned it before on here, but this is why I've been so not against it, but I don't want manager-led recruitment. I've said this, I can't even remember which videos it was. But when we were linked to one of his ex-players, the current captain of Gladbach, the thing that concerned me was I don't want Daniel Farke just to lead the recruitment. I want it to be club-based, because if it does go wrong and we do keep him, then you're going to be stuck with players in the mold of Daniel Farke for the next coach. Whereas, you know, you look at the model now, and it's the model that's been used in so many places. It is the technical director, it is the chief, you know, recruitment officer that gets the players in, and the coaches, managers work with them. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about who the manager is. They can work with the players given. You know, Thomas Frank being an example. There's, you know what, there's many examples. I don't need to go into them. I think even to a point, Big Ange is one of those as well, who's been given players that he hasn't fully committed to. There's just so many examples. The Brighton manager, yes, Brighton manager. He will not be in charge of recruitment. It will be Brighton that are in charge of them as well. Even to a certain point, Villa, although I'm sure Emery gets a lot of say because he's Unai Emery and he's got a track record. And that's the whole point, people. If you're not getting a manager with an actual track record of success, then for me, it has to be club-led, in my opinion, and we shall see. Gavin here saying, in his defense, Norwich gave him £8 million and £45 in his 2 stints. Name a manager that can keep a team up on that. Yeah, Gavin, you're right. In terms of that kind of budget, it's you're asking a lot. But then you're also I'm looking at individual games, Gavin, which I don't think you're doing. I'm looking at games I've seen Norwich play under Daniel Farke and thinking, why are they even trying to play like this with the personnel they've got? Much like when we played teams and you're thinking, what are we doing here? You've got Forshaw on the pitch with half a leg. What are we doing with the man-to-man system? It's about how you operate in the league. And if he just changes approach a little, yes, they would have still lost games, but would they have lost so many games so heavily? Or would they have given themselves a chance of nicking a point somewhere if he wasn't asking Max Aarons and Ben Godfrey to play a high line like they were Liverpool? It's just different. I'm looking at intricacies like that, not just the whole he wasn't back thing. I'm looking at his tactical plan. Tim here saying Thomas Frank was always my idea of a manager, even in Bielsa days. Yeah, he's top notch, isn't he? And you got to think Thomas Frank is going to move on elsewhere. Keith here, who would you bring in? See, this is a great question. I don't fully know, but one name I did have on my list that I was going to speak about after the season was Cesc Fabregas. I love what Cesc Fabregas has done. This is a manager, by the way, for Como who's worked wonders, but it's his tactical approach to the game. It is possession based, but what he does out of possession is the important thing for me. He switches things around. It isn't the same formation, game in, game out. He will move it around and suit it to whatever the opposition is or whatever he feels the plan needs to be. Now, again, if Leeds United are being this ambitious and they're going to sack Daniel Farke, even though Cesc Fabregas is planning to stay at Como and has got interest from elsewhere, that's who you've got to wrestle with. That's who you've got to wrestle with. You've got to wrestle with these other clubs that are hoping to get this hot prospect of a manager or coach and say, no, this is why you should come here, Cesc. This is the plan we've got. These are the players that we're targeting. And if you can, and just think of the pool Cesc Fabregas would have as well, by the way. He's literally like not long retired. You know, a lot of players that have come up will have grown up watching Cesc Fabregas. It matters. It absolutely matters. And I'm saying here, this is just one example, by the way. Just one. Harvey saying here, that's a shout. I appreciate that. Nico Paz, okay. The way he deploys his play, especially Nico Paz is someone else. It's different, crazy, and I respect that. He is the definition of a modern day coach in that he adapts to the game that he's playing, not just what he hopes is the idea, has pre-planned changes in his mind, and then won't adapt on the fly. Cesc does that, and that's what I really admire about him. But I do feel even if it's not Cesc, it's going to be someone down this line. I know I've often said about Jose Mourinho before. The only thing I'm thinking with Jose Mourinho, if he was to ever come, is that it would be that absolute lockdown, stinkfest football, grab a goal and just hold on for it for dear life, and that's it. I know it's not Jose Mourinho of of 10 years ago. But in all fairness, people keep on downplaying Mourinho. He literally won a trophy with Roma in the past, what, 5 years? You know what I mean? Which is more than what we've done. Okay. He is still a good operator. All right. He's just, but the thing is with Jose, he's a ticking time bomb. and we all know it. But I'm talking if the club, like the article says, are going to try and go in a more younger, progressive, unknown kind of route, then that's the kind of coach that I'm thinking of. Man said, "What's Dave Hockaday up to?" Oh man. Eloquentry here saying here, you have to sell the idea to renew the manager if you want to sell the idea to a prospective player as well. Listen, players, I know a lot of people just think players go for money and this and that, but a coach can help immensely. And if a coach believes, think of some of Bournemouth's recruitment. Let's go back to that. And Mourinho would definitely attract players for sure. Bournemouth got in players like Clivert and on all these guys. Does Clivert go to Bournemouth, by the way? This isn't like someone with a big history or, big expectation, big name around the world like Leeds United. This is Bournemouth. Does he go there without a coach that is well known in the circles of being a hot prospect, a good progressive coach like Iriola? I don't think so. I don't think players like that do go to Bournemouth. I think they consider their other options and maybe go elsewhere. But if you got a coach in there that's selling you the plan along with the owner, a very ambitious owner like Bill Foley, you're gonna have a chance to go there. You will take the chance and go there. Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, what else is there in regards to this? Timing sucks. Yep, 2 games to go. One thing as well, in terms of this, I'm gonna answer this just so I don't attract any of these people here. In terms of this, you know what? Let me just get to this. Bielsa or Farke? No, Bielsa. No Bielsa. Absolutely not. Um, we're talking about not being sentimental here, and you just mentioned Bielsa. Bielsa hadn't. People can try and look back at it with rose tinted glasses all they want. The players quit on him in the end, and these are players that owe him their careers because they couldn't do it anymore, and he was not willing to adapt. And we talk about attracting players. Bielsa definitely can attract players, but not the real top guys. We got Rafinha probably because of Bielsa. But I'm talking Bielsa's got a ceiling as well. And listen, our ceiling next season is to stay up. But it's quite obvious when it comes to the top players, they don't want to do the stuff that Bielsa's asking. That's why he likes the kind of players that he continually signs and goes for. It's because they're willing to be molded. They're willing to do the things that he's asking them to do in terms of getting their fitness to a certain level and their body shape to a certain level. But top players don't want to hear about that. We've heard it so many times. I mean, Luis Suarez don't like the guy, but he's probably the latest example. Mike is saying Farke has a better record than Bielsa. One thing I'll say in that as well, and again, that goes back to like LUFC data's kind of numbers in terms of best winning percentage and all that. What Bielsa did with that squad, there's not many that could have done it, if any. And that's where I give Bielsa his props. I'll always give him his props for what he did in the championship with that team because the team was it was crap. All right, it was crap. There's no two ways about it. The players that got us up in the main were not good players. It doesn't matter how you try and dress it up. I look at them. Where are they now? What are they doing now? What did they do after they left Leeds United? The only two that had the actual talent to probably make it to the next level, obviously Rafinha, and at the time Calvin Phillips. And even then, he was still on the back of the whole Bielsa coaching kind of thing, getting injured in and out in between the Marsh phase and doing well for England at the time. But the team was not good. So his numbers, in the context of what he did, is easily better than what we've done, in terms of Farke in this squad, because you should have been doing this with this squad. Again, I make the argument we should be on a better point total with this squad. And it's as simple as that with me. Yeah, and improve Ben White, absolutely, man. And it was a miracle what Bielsa did. It absolutely was. They were literally mid-table players, and that's what people keep forgetting now. They keep thinking of them now as club icons and stuff. Good for you if you do. They were literally finishing 14th, 15th season after season. Then he comes in and gives them a whole new lease of life. He gives them a plan to buy into. They buy into it, to the credit to those players. But you saw the limitations come when we get to the Premier League. They were never Premier League players, man. Yeah, Tyler Roberts, and there's some of his faults. There's some of his faults, man. But yeah, listen, I just all the Bielsa things. If you're thinking that this is going to be like a Bielsa loving kind of thing, I will tell you exactly what happened, because you can't argue with facts. You can dress it up all you want and saying that Bielsa wasn't backed and this and that. He also had the same problem that Farke had in his stint in the Premier League with Norwich. Even if you're not backed, adapt to what you've got then, and he didn't do that. He tried to play the open, expansive football, man-to-man marking against players that were far superior to what we had. And we ended up with a point total by the time he got sacked, or a goal differential of I think we had conceded 60 goals. That's unacceptable. It doesn't matter what kind of squad you've got. It's unacceptable. He did. He got banned for the England cap. He absolutely did. And this is it for me, Martin. Any competent manager could have got this squad promoted. That's what I'm saying. The bar isn't high for me. The squad that we got is absolutely brilliant for this level and the league that we're in. And it hasn't been utilized. And again, maybe this is what the 49ers looking at too. Squad utilization hasn't been utilized. Wait a minute. We've invested how much in Ramazani, and how many minutes has he played over the last few months? What are we doing here? You know, before all the other investments as well that didn't get much game time. You know, maybe they're looking at things like this. It could be things like that. And you mix it all together, and they're probably thinking, how is he going to cope in the Premier League? Yes, this is another thing as well. Games scored first, games won after scoring first. That's awesome. Lovely for the Championship. But what about the Premier League? Are we confident that if we're ahead in, let's just say 10 games, are we going to win, 8 of those games? Can we do that? Or what happens when we fall behind in those games? Because there's going to be a lot of times when we fall behind in Premier League games, people. A lot of times. We've seen how he copes when we fall behind at times. It's either we don't change anything until the 70th minute, and if that still doesn't work, we throw on every attacker until we get at least an equalizer. That's literally his plan. That's literally it. So are they looking at things like that as well? He's had problems against these kind of coaches. What happens when he goes up against an Iriola? What happens when he goes up against a David Moyes of Everton? What happens then? Nick Wall saying here, stop spitting facts, people don't like it. Yeah, well, that's the problem I have. I say what's happened. Okay, I'll say what happened. When I'm giving an opinion, I'll say an opinion. But when I say something that's happened, people are like, no, that didn't happen. I always remember a comment where people say, yeah, but Cage, we only used to get beat 4-5-0 by the top teams. And I say that is just not true. We literally had a relegation battle against Everton, and they beat us 3-0 comfortably. And it was a comfortable game for Everton. And so people just, I know what, because he did so much for the football club. I always say he brought this club back to life after it was dead for so long. He did that. He absolutely did it. But at the same time, he also, someone said it was fun with Bielsa. I know my match reactions when he towards the end of his tenure, I was not having fun. Okay, I know I wasn't having fun. I was coming on here. Well, yeah, we've lost 4-0. Yeah, it was just mad. It was just mad. David saying those tactics won't work in the Prem. Hey, listen, Dave, any tactics can work as long as you got the player personnel. The problem was we didn't have the personnel. I always give the example. You can play the way Jurgen Klopp played with Liverpool, but you have to have the personnel. Otherwise, you're probably getting beat 6-0 every week if you're playing with fullbacks that are playing that high, 3 midfielders running about trying to get that ball back and, having your attacking forward scoring the goals. You have to have the personnel to do it. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Yeah, I know. Let's have a look here. What are we saying here? And let me see what the poll's saying for now. Let me see. Okay, so at the moment, I've put in the poll, replace Farke at the end of the season. 49% saying no, he deserves a chance. 22% saying yes, he isn't good enough. And then 29% yes, but only if someone's lined up. Look, You know what? You know what? One thing that they can do, the 49ers, even though I don't think it's good practice to keep on replying to every report that comes out there. I think that sometimes the club should stay quiet. What they can do if this isn't true is say this isn't true and do it through the official Leeds United channels. I know that sometimes they give the local reporters a nugget and send them a press release once every like 6 months, but I would do it through the LUFC channels and say, we've seen the reports talking about us replacing Daniel Farke. These are absolutely untrue. We are going to be back in Daniel Farke in the summer ahead of a Premier League campaign. La di da di da. You know how the PR statements go. Because otherwise, especially at this time, and I think it's only just because of the timing, you are leaving a lot of speculation in the air. You're leaving a lot in the air to say, we've got 2 games left of this campaign. Are we changing the manager at the end of the season? And the chatter will be in the changing room as well. The chatter will be in the changing room as well. Oh, Daniel, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be here, but is Daniel going to be here? The players will talk probably in the group chats right now. So, you know, maybe someone in the chat said maybe that's why Ramazani was celebrating so much. He knew he had the tea. But it's one of those where the 49ers have got the power to get in front of this. And especially if they don't like the response, I got to be honest, I haven't seen the response online or anything else. I haven't read what people are saying, so I don't know what the overwhelming majority is saying about this report. I'm literally going by you guys here in the chat and in the comments after. But if they're not liking the response, they can easily get ahead of it, and that's what I'd say in regards to this kind of report. Ishtar saying no, Farke, I feel is going nowhere. 49ers will give him one season. That's my conclusion. For me, Ishtar, and I always say this to people that keep on saying the obvious thing about if we have Daniel Farke and we'll get relegated. I will say it's not going to go that far. If Ishtar's right and we've got Farke and they give him a season, it means we've survived. Because if we're not doing well at the start of the Premier League season, he's going to get replaced. There's just too much on the line, people. There's too much money. There's too much gravitas. There's too much in the line of investors. And again, the 49ers, as we've seen, whether it be that basketball player Larry or Russell Westbrook or actors or whoever it is, the silent backers, who are usually the most richest, by the way, they are an investment group. They're not going to care one way or another. They just want the job done. And if Daniel Farke is looking like we're heading down under his leadership or under his management in the Premier League, then they will replace him. It won't get that far with Daniel Farke to say he's going to get us relegated. We're not going to do a Norwich where we say, you know what, if we go down with Daniel Farke, he can help get us up. It's not going to go that far. Leeds United, the 49ers, will not want another relegation again. They will want this to be it. And they will have to have learned from lessons that they were involved with as well, by the way, in the last stint that we had. So Gavin saying here, Farke will have 8 games. But this is the thing, Gavin. If it's 8 games, and if Gavin, if you're saying this, and if let's just say the board are thinking like this, do it in the summer. Don't leave it to chance. Don't leave it for 8 games, because by then preseason's gone. Your chance of signing players that you could possibly have got in the summer that's gone as well in that transfer window. If you're even, I would say this, if you're even considering as a board member, you know what, man, he's got us up. Let's give him 8 games. Sack him. Sack him in the summer. Don't leave it to 8 games. Go and get a candidate that you think is going to be there more long-term or can give you longer-term success, rather than thinking he's got 8 games. Because that kind of time limit does nobody any favors. It does nobody. It doesn't do him any favors, Daniel Farke, knowing he's under that kind of remit. It doesn't do any of the new players that are signing under Daniel Farke any favors. It doesn't do anybody any good. So, in my opinion, if you're going to give him that kind of limit, get rid in the summer, man. Isaac here. Oh, let me get that here. Isaac here. We need to be ruthless, bring in the top manager, tactically aware, someone that will help track top players, put sentiments aside for once. Absolutely. And I'm with you, Isaac. There's no sentiment for me. It's club over personal every time. And I keep telling it to people. It works both ways as well. You guys will have some players that you absolutely love, but they will only love you as long as the opportunity is right. And we've seen it over and over again. If the opportunity is not right, they'll leave. You know what I mean? And that's why I always say put the club first. Even though you may think Farke can do the job, if the club decide that he's not the right man, we then have to look at the next person and go, Could it be this guy? Guys, I had this horrible. This is one that I don't want, by the way. And I don't want this. But what if they went for Gareth Southgate? Please, please, I don't want him. Okay. I really don't. But I'm thinking, I can say people are going to go nuts in the chat. But again, I'm just trying to think from the 49ers point of view. I believe he still lives in the area. Annabelle, I know I'm with you. I'm with you. Let me just say that from the jump. I'm with you. But again, if you're thinking about Gareth Southgate and his reputation, I'm I'm thinking about this. I can't look for now. Let me not look. You're looking at somebody who is defensive minded, which is definitely this manager. Lord have mercy, was he defense minded? Gareth Southgate, he's got a reputation. He can probably attract some England players that are possibly on the fringes, or maybe can get from other teams that he trusts. It's a horrible one. I listen. I know, guys. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying, what if they were considering it? Okay, it's not out the realm of possibility, is it? You know, I know that he's saying he's going to take some time away, but all that means for managers, I'm waiting for the right opportunity. That's all it ever means. It means I'm waiting for the right opportunity, money, project. That's all it ever means. But yeah, Ali, yeah, I swear it's not me. Jack here saying here, KKJ, I'll be happy for Farke to go. The backing of Melier and his failure to use the squad is sufficient reason alone. I agree, Jack. I absolutely agree with that. I don't disagree with any of that. His limitations scare me in the Premier League because again, I'm not looking at all these high win percentage in the championship. It means Jack, or he's literally finished with 90 plus points with Norwich in the championship each time. It means nothing. Different circumstances now, but it doesn't mean anything. What are you going to do for me in the Prem? And when I think of him going up against certain coaches in the Prem, I think they're going to have a real good time. I do. I feel they're going to, there's nothing to outwit him. He doesn't come with a tactical plan. He literally, let me just say this. People keep talking about squad usage. The other game against Luton Town, very recently, he said he knew before the game that they're going to take their time and use the long throws and everything else like that. He said this himself after the game. Then why in the game did he continue with the plan of going down the sides of the pitch and trying to exploit Luton in that way? Why not move the game in a different tactical plan, set up a different formation and play a little bit more central where Luton can't hurt us with that long throw and everything else and time wasting that he said he was aware of? These are the things I'm talking about. He doesn't adjust for game. He just hopes that his plan will work. And listen, it will work in this championship. Of course it's going to work. But as I've said before, we're not going to have a Jerry Yates to worry about up front. We're going to have real strikers up front in the Premier League, or better, I should say, because it's not great in terms of the strikers in the Premier League. It's not, but there are definitely of a high quality than in the Championship, and you can't get away with those kind of mistakes or that kind of thinking of, well, our plan should work better. So no matter if Luton keep kicking it out, we're just going to keep going down the side with Solomon and hope for the best. Shrew here saying he put DJ on. You could see he was not right. Well, this is the other thing as well. Squad management. They may be looking at that. Even if you go back to last season with Jorginho overplaying him after hernia surgery, Junior Firpo this season literally declared him. I don't think he's going to be fit to play. Starts him in the game, and Firpo's off by the 20th minute. DJ. It's touch and go if he's available for Friday's game. Should be better for Monday. He then comes on, in that Oxford game when you've still got Ramazani sitting there twiddling his thumbs, and that could be something that they're looking at. I think it's a whole mix of things as to the reason why this report has come out and the reason why the 49ers have put out feelers to see what the fans are thinking overall. Now, what I don't think they've planned for is that this fan base, and Daniel Farke says it in every press conference, is emotional. I've never seen anything like it. I sometimes talk on here, and I remember, it wasn't doing me any favors. I always say this: if you play to the gallery, it does you a lot of favors. If you mention Bielsa every 2 minutes or back an average player just because he's got heart and he runs around a bit, you get more people on side than people that can think for themselves and can see actually what's happening. But when we was in the Premier League and people are trying to convince me, Cage, that Forshaw is a good midfielder, that's when you know that the fan base is emotional. Shaw's got a great story. He come back from an injury that I thought he was going to retire from, but he was never a Premier League player. Not in a month of Sundays. He was never a Premier League player, man. Shadow Wolf. Why? Shadow Wolf is somebody that I swear makes about 10 different accounts because he gets blocked on every account. Go home, man. Do something. Annabelle here saying Farke even admitted he ignores medical advice. Yeah, I mean, he literally says he takes it under consideration, but ultimately it's his decision. And we've seen that has not paid off on a few occasions. But listen, but Bielsa said something nice about Forshaw once. It's insane to me, and that's what the emotion he's talking about. Just going back to that point where fans can get attached to players just because it looks like they're giving their all and he deserves this. Fans don't look at it from a critical thinking mind. That's football in general, but Leeds in particular, I've noticed a hell of a lot. I'm even seeing Spurs fans talking about Ange, even if he wins them the Europa League, they want him gone at the end of the season. And that's Tottenham, who are allegedly a big six club and haven't won a trophy since 2008 when Woodgate was playing for him. All right. But they're saying he's got to go because of what's happened in the league. And we don't really get that here. Ian saying your fans are irrational, not emotional. Fair. David here saying we can't afford sentiment as we cannot afford to waste points. Oh, God. Every point is going to be precious in the Prem. Every single one. Every single point that we get, you see how tough it is now. And it's not going to be any easier for us next season. It's not. And again, I don't want to get into videos yet about who needs to go, who needs to, be benched and sold and everything else like that. I do want to wait till the end of the season for that. Like I say earlier in the video, for people that just joined late, I'm only talking about this because the report has come from, for me, a credible 49ers mouthpiece in the Daily Mail. That's it for me. I mean, Pete, it's life in general. It is, Pete, you're absolutely right. It's not just football. I equate it to life. If you give people something that they don't have to think about and give them surface level stuff, people just appreciate more because you don't have to think too much. You know what I mean? That's just life in general. Give them the easy thing. It's more digestible than someone going into details and looking at intricacies of, well, yeah, we've got 90 something points, but why haven't we got 100? Yeah, it's a lot easier for people to digest. I absolutely get it. Ali here saying, though, in regards to someone's earlier comment, if we give him 8 games, that's 20% of the season gone. No thanks. Exactly. Yeah. Bobby said, you know what, you're right, Bobby. I shouldn't have left it on there too. Let me go back to somebody that I'd like us to go get. Is Cesc okay, right? Is Cesc okay? See stadium new. I've already done stadium stuff, Gavin. Are you talking about the expansion and everything else, or is something new come up? Have they actually had the planning permission accepted? Let me know, because if it's just the other stuff, I've already spoken about it briefly before. I'll have a quick look now. While I'm here live and direct, people. By the way, people, if you haven't liked the video yet, please do so. It really does help out the channel. Okay, yeah, okay, shovel ready. All right, yep, yes, yep, got it. Let me just see. Oh, by the way, just in case anyone's planning to go, there is going to be a parade around Leeds, whether we win the championship or not, and it will just be on promotion. Otherwise, for the 5th of May. So if you can make it, there you go. But yeah, I can see it, Gavin. I've got it. It's a Graham Smith, isn't it? I'm certainly not clicking the YEP. If you think the Daily Mail one's bad for navigation, I got no chance with this. But Gavin, I'll give them the same one. Shovel ready. What was said as Leeds United's 56,500 capacity yellow road proposals were heard by the council's exec board today. So it looks like, okay, cool. Right. David here saying, I've been on the same page as another anti-Farke lad, Chris Kingy. Well, listen, in all fairness to Chris, he did come on the channel a few days ago when I opened it up to members to come on. And he did say that he would love Farke to prove him wrong. It wasn't just that he's against Farke, it's that he just doesn't believe in him. And I completely get it. The one thing that always makes me like, not question, but when people say it would be madness to sack Farke, like, is it madness? Like, why is it madness? Because of what he's done to get us promoted this season? Because he failed last year. with arguably a better squad with more talented individuals, as proven with the prices that they went for. He's had a much better rounded squad this season. But is it madness to sack Daniel Farke? It's not like we're going into the Premier League with an unknown Daniel Farke. We've seen him in the Premier League before. Again, people could talk about budgets, blah, 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 blah. Talk about tactical. Talk to me about that, not budgets. It's not out of the realms to think that we may get kind of the similar result if we keep him. But listen, one thing I'll say in Daniel Farke's in his defense, he may be hungry to really prove everyone wrong to the points that people are talking about. I wasn't backed properly. I wasn't given a chance. I wasn't given a fair shake. If Leeds United back me, I can show what I can do. That could work in his favor if, in differences to his last one. But do Leeds United want to be that guinea pig to say, all right, here's a chance for you? Also, as well, by the way, and I know that it's probably semantics with the speech, but when Daniel Farke was appointed, it was on the basis of getting us promoted. All right. I don't want to, obviously there could be that, yes, we'll get promoted and we keep Daniel, but the basis of his appointment was literally to get Leeds out because he was the best candidate for the job. 2 promotions previous with Norwich, etc., etc. Even then, I'd argue it's less pressure at Norwich than it is at Leeds United, which Daniel Farke himself has said. He has said he's never known anything like it at Leeds United because it's completely different expectations from the fan base. It's completely different to Norwich, but that's what he would have been appointed for. Is it out the realm of possibilities that the 49ers go, we've got Daniel for this, but when we go up, we've got this guy in mind? Just saying. Ishtar here saying, no, Leeds have been slow to act in the past and become desperate. Let's get business done earlier if this is the case. Ishtar, I said this in the previous video, but I want to enjoy the promotion moment. That's why I'm not talking about who should be leaving, who should be going. Not going to be doing that till the end of the season. But of course, we were promoted on the 21st of April. If Leeds United aren't going into speaking to agents right now and saying, we want you, and getting them in for June the 1st or whenever the window is open, much like we've sold Christensen, he'll be gone June the 1st, regardless. That deal's done. We need to also have a few of these lined up. But if they are now in the midst of possibly changing the manager, then that probably changes a couple of things. So there we go. There we are. But yeah, listen, people, I don't know if I've got anything else on this. Honestly, I don't think I've got anything else. So yeah, Charles, I mean, yeah, get the likes up if it's only on 84. Oh my Lord. Yeah, please get the likes up. But yeah, I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Hopefully they're well thought out, or if it is just as basic as he's got a sub, he deserves a chance, no problem. But give me your thoughts in the comments below on this subject. I can imagine it's going to be highly emotive. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on this story, see if Leeds even put a rebuttal to this report that's gone out, even though I do think they've actually fed it to the Daily Mail. But alas, PR is what it's there for. It's PR for a reason. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I've been here for nearly an hour. Can't believe it's been that long. But people, like the video before you go, drop your thoughts below, and I'll see you in the next one, people. Peace out.